you hear me now?
Yes, now we can hear you.
All right, sweet. Yeah.
I'm
Hey guys,
guessing
doing?
I'm guessing your mic decided to mute itself.
Yeah, I have my recording set up here, so it was probably pushing to the wrong microphone.
Ah.
So, yeah. But now it's all good.
Well, welcome and I hope you're ready to become a sinner.
All right.
So, we have questions that we always start with and I am so sorry these two are going to be really weird.
Sure.
First, what is your favorite ice cream?
I tend to go for like the fruity ice creams. But actually I think my all-time favorite is bubble gum. I know that's weird, but that's what I'm into.
I've never had bubblegum ice cream. Now I'm curious.
It's actually really good. I don't really like the little pieces of bubblegum. I just like the flavor of bubblegum ice cream.
I didn't even know they made that.
Yeah, yeah, you got to find it. It's hard to find, but it's really good.
Now, the next one is going to be the weirdest. What is your favorite kind of tree? There, Ark, I asked it.
My favorite kind of tree?
Yes.
Hmm. Well, 'tis the season. I guess I'll just say a Christmas tree.
There you go. That was an easy answer.
Boom, got him.
So we've got a few questions. The fans have got a few questions. If they can pull themselves off the floor, I'm pretty sure they're screaming in joy. So let's see. What shall our first question be? Can you tell us about your passion for martial arts and what started it?
Yeah, sure. I started martial arts when I was about four and a half, and my mom put me into karate because I was really small as a kid. And I had a ton of energy. Like I was off the wall, crazy all the time. So I needed something to get that energy out, and my mom thought martial arts would be something that was a good fit for me, and it was. Um, I never really stopped doing martial arts. I started in a style called Tong Sudo, and when I was about 10, I started doing Muay Thai and competing. And I've done a number of fights and done pretty well, and that's really what I thought I was going to do for a living. I thought I was going to be a professional fighter, but other passions sort of pushed me away. But I still train MMA fighters. Right now, I train in Muay Thai and Jiu Jitsu primarily. And even this morning, I went in and held some pads for a pro MMA fighter.
So, how did you go from martial arts to voice acting?
It's not exactly the same. Are you sure? No,
Well, I didn't know. Do you have to now beat up the director and stuff?
yeah, that's how I get my jobs. I just say, if you don't hire me, I'm just gonna punch you. Um, no, actually, I was kind of born into voice acting. My dad was a voice actor, and I started voice acting when I was 8. I went to work with my dad. It was so fun to go watch him work. He worked on Power Rangers. He was the voice of Rito Revolto, the skeleton dude on Power Rangers. So this one day I went in, and at the end of his session, the director said, "Hey, we need a kid's voice." And my dad's like, "He's a kid, throw him in the booth." And that's how I became a voice actor. And since then, I've been really, really fortunate to continue to work in the industry. And maybe the last 5 or 6 years, I've refocused and really put an effort into moving forward in the industry and haven't looked back.
Wow. So you were basically sink or swim thrown in there.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and I feel like there's not one way to get into the industry. And, I was just sitting around watching my dad, so I jumped in the booth and just copied what he was doing. And that was really my training, my acting training is just watching him and copying what he was doing. And, I was kind of a wacky kid growing up, so I used to prank call girls and do girls' voices. And that was my training to become a voice actor.
So let's hear one of your girl voices.
Oh, already to the girl's voice? How do I always get myself into this? Um, I don't know. I want to be a magical girl. I don't sound as feminine as I used to. I mean, my voice hasn't changed much since middle school, but I used to always call people and copy their voices.
That was great. Now, Serp asked, if Aniplex licenses Sword Art Online 2, do you think that you'd go back to voicing Kirito?
Oh, I mean, coming off of talking like a girl, that I really want to voice him as a girl. That would be amazing. I feel like the response from season one was big enough that they would have me back, but they don't tell voice actors anything. So I won't know if I'm working on the show until they call me and say, "Hey, can you come to work on Monday?" And then I go in on Monday and we're working on Sword Art 2. So that's when I'll find out if I'm voicing Kirito again. But I would love to play that character again. I hope they would have me back. Um, and I'll just have to wait and find out. But the extra edition is actually coming out. I think it just was released. They released it a little early. So that's like the connective tissue between season one and season two. So that's a very good sign.
Now, do you think you're going to voice for the video games if they ever come to America?
Again, I would hope so, but they don't tell us anything. I feel like they don't dub a lot of those games. I don't know if the fan base is large enough on those particular titles for those systems. I'm not sure why they don't, but it would be awesome to work on those games. I hear really good things about them. Um, so I guess I'll just have to wait and see.
That's it. If they don't translate them, we're gonna have to do a fan dub, and you're gonna have to do the all the girl voices.
Boom, there you go. I'll just play everybody.
I've seen people do that in dubbings.
There's people that can get away with it that just sound amazing and you can't even tell they're doing everybody. I don't know if I could do that.
So we have another question from Anime Lover. How does it feel to be the starring role of one of the top animes, Attack on Titans? English. Please learn to write it in English.
um, well, I was a fan of Attack on Titan before I heard about an English dub. So it was a dream job for me. I really wanted to be part of the show. And I didn't think I was going to have the opportunity to because I had never worked for Funimation before. I live in LA. Funimation is in Dallas. So I'm not really in that area. The commute is a little far. But I was fortunate enough to have had a conversation with my buddy Patrick Seitz about Attack on Titan and about how I liked the show, and I was watching it. And when the audition came to Patrick, who's worked for Funimation a bunch, he asked Mike McFarlane if I could audition for him, and Mike's like, "Yeah, have him MP3 and audition in." So that day I went out and bought soundproofing for my booth so I could scream bloody murder and my neighbors wouldn't call the cops on me. And I gave it everything I could, and it must have come through in the audition because I got cast. So it was awesome going out there and being able to play as Aaron Yeager. Just amazing.
So have you ever actually lost your voice doing a character?
Well, I mean, I grew up teaching martial arts, so I used to yell at people all the time, and now I just happen to fall into these characters that yell a lot. I mean, I've definitely left sessions with my voice super sore, and during the Attack on Titan recording, I sort of tore a vocal cord. So I've damaged my voice a little bit, but never so extensively that like I can't get back to normal. I mean, it's been like, I've gone through the pain and suffering, but it sounds amazing, so I'm happy with that. And I just kind of suck it up and pretend like everything is fine. And I know for Sword Art Online, we used to take the last 15 minutes of every session just to scream. So I've put my voice through the ringer on these screams.
I didn't even know you could tear your vocal cords.
Yeah, I mean they're a muscle, and if you push it too hard, and it can happen. And Mike McFarlane wanted something that sounded just raw and nasty, and what's more disgusting than the sound of someone screaming until things tear?
Well, they do say you have to suffer for your art, but I don't think that's what they meant.
Well, I mean, I was happy. I was happy to do it. Like I said, I was a fan of the show, so I knew what I was getting into. And the Japanese Seiyu had an amazing performance, so I wanted my performance to stand up to that. So I really gave it everything I could.
Now, as a fan, what do you think about the Marvel Comics and Attack on Titans crossover that's going to be done?
That's awesome. I cannot wait to see that. I mean, I saw that they were putting out a few little snippets, but I haven't really seen too much of it. But that that sounds awesome.
Let's hope that they actually make it into or a cartoon or an anime so you can voice in that too.
That would be cool. I would love to work on something like that.
Now, let's see. Anybody else have any questions? Our people are all like, should we ask? All right, Gaming Writer asks, what was it like voicing the protagonist of both the first and second Danganronpa games? I am sorry I messed that one up.
That's all good. You don't see that name every day. So Danganronpa is such a cool video game. For recording on that, it was almost like I was watching a movie in my head. My character, it's kind of like a who done it if you're not familiar with it. Like someone is killed and they have to figure out who did the murder or they're all gonna die. Um, so it was kind of cool because my character goes back and retells all the clues and all the things that he saw while he was trying to figure things out. And while I was delivering those lines, because you don't get the script ahead of time, you go in there and you just kind of go with your gut. So it was the first time I was seeing those lines, and they had me just go for it and deliver these whole monologues and get as far as I could without stopping. And it was really cool. It was like I was watching a movie in my head. And when I went back for the second game, I got to play an insane person, and that's always a fun time to be crazy as hell. So I had a really good time during those sessions.
Now, are you yourself a gamer?
Yeah, I grew up playing games. My first passion was Final Fantasy, like the original Final Fantasy. And actually, I just got back from Australia. I was doing a con over there called Supernova, and that flight is really, really long. So I saw that Square Enix was put Final Fantasy One on sale for cell phones, and I downloaded that. So I started playing Final Fantasy One again, which is awesome.
Now I gotta go look for that. I didn't actually know it was on sale on cell phones.
I don't know if it was only like a limited time thing, like if it was a Black Friday thing or something, but I saw that and I'm like, oh yes, I am so playing this on the plane. This will eat up hours and hours of my time.
You look up from the game, you're already landed. Darn.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Now, Ark asked, how did you get into designing?
Web design. Well, I was in college and I went to UCLA and I was studying political science and philosophy. And you're always looking for something to make money while you're in school. So I had a buddy of mine that came to me with an idea to open a hosting company. And I helped him out with that. And while I was working on that, some of our hosting clients said, hey, we need our websites adjusted. So I started messing around with adjusting websites. I taught myself HTML, and then I taught myself PHP and CSS and jQuery, and then I just kept learning and learning and learning, and it just kind of stuck. I thought, hey, I'll do this web design until I'm not busy. And every time I finished a project, I would get a few leads, and it just led to a business that I could do almost full time. So I just sort of fell into it, and it's a perfect job for a voice actor because you don't really have any set hours. So if you have a job that day, you go in and record, then you come home and can do some web design. If you don't have a job that day, well, you just do web design all day. So it's a great job for someone with an up and down kind of job like voice acting.
So you're a voice actor, a web designer, a martial artist. What is there that you can't do?
I like to stay busy. Like I said, I had a lot of energy as a kid. I don't think I've ever slowed down. Um, it's it's really fun to do something different every single day, and it's nice to be your own boss. So I don't know. I've just kind of picked those things up and stuck with them, and yeah, I enjoy what I do.
Do you ever sleep?
What's sleep?
Good answer.
Now,
Now,
I do like to stay really busy, and on top of all that stuff, I've been trying. I have a goal to run a marathon next year, so trying to pack that in there too. We'll see if it happens.
so you definitely don't know what sleep is what you're telling me.
Nah, it's overrated.
Now they're asking, what consoles did you grow up with?
Well, I mean, the original Nintendo was the first one that I had, but I played a lot of N64, like the original Smash Brothers, GoldenEye. I was not very good at Mario Kart. I mean, original Smash Brothers was like my game. Like I could dominate people with Pikachu. So I'm just waiting for a convention where I can set up an N64 version of Smash Brothers because the controller is just different uh, on the newer systems. So I gotta find an N64 version, and I will just dominate people.
Now, do you play the Wii U version?
See, no, I didn't get into that because that came out while I was really, really busy, like in college. So I didn't play much of that version. So I would get destroyed in that one. But 64 version, that's the one.
See, now I'm gonna have to play you at a convention. No, no, I'm not. I've actually never played that one. You would own me so hard.
I'm just waiting for a convention where I can do that and just sit there and troll people.
If you ever do any conventions in Florida, I'll bring the 64.
There we go. That sounds good. I'll bust out my red voice from Pokemon Origins and just be like, "Pikachu, go!" and just dominate people.
You're evil. I like that. Oh, they're asking if you can please do the voice of Aldo and Aaron together.
Of Aldo,
I think
who's
that's
Aldo? Which character is Aldo?
where's Aldo from, guys? It takes a second for them to see what we're saying, so
No, it's all good.
cuz Twitch has that wonderful 10-second lag.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Vampire Knight. I might have said the name wrong.
Oh, Auto. Yeah, sure. What do you want them to say? What would they say to each other?
All right, guys, let's make this really bad. You get to pick the line he says.
Oh, great.
This isn't going to end well. They're saying you must do that voice whenever you fight as Pikachu.
You know I will.
Come on, guys, pick a line.
I
I'm so sorry in advance for whatever they say.
It's all good.
In the meantime, who has been your favorite character to voice?
I get this question a lot, and I always answer it the same way. I can't pick one character. They're all fighting in my head for who's the favorite, and I don't want one to beat me up. So I just enjoy being a voice actor, and it's so difficult to get work. I really love all the characters that I've been fortunate enough to record as. So I can't pick one. I mean, I can go on and list a ton of them, but I don't know if you want me to do that.
Feel free. We have time to kill.
I mean, I can start going through some of the characters and why like they're so much fun to play. Like, I mean, Masami Hida and Durarara, you get to say things like "live by the booby, die by the booby," and call girls boobylicious. Like, that's a good day of work. Playing Rino Kumara, you get to go from angry to happy to sad to angry again, all in one scene. Uh, I mean, just go through the whole gambit of emotions in one session is so cool. Being Kirito, he has God mode running. Like those scenes where people are just attacking him and they can't even do damage to him, like so epic to be that character. Being Aaron, just so angry that words cannot describe the amount of anger that he has. I mean, I'm a pretty happy person and always kind of smiling. Um, so it was nice to be angry for a change. That was fun.
Well,
Um, Man, I can just keep going on and on.
was it hard playing an angry character when you yourself are always so happy?
Well, I mean, what I had to do is sort of tap into something that would make me angry. Um, so, I mean, I know one thing that I use to get to my angry place. I have two dogs. They're Maltipoos. They're like little white fluff balls, Maltese poodles. And I came home one day and I had got these potato chips that I was really looking forward to eating, and they got my potato chips. And I think about how angry I was when I found those potato chips eaten by my dogs, and that gets me right into the character of Aaron Yeager.
That's not where I thought you were gonna go with dogs.
See, you can tap into anything and it works. Think about those poodles and they just make me angry.
Well, poodles would make anyone angry.
Yeah, of course.
Well, they have a line,
Uh-oh.
and it's, well, you taste good.
As out.
Yeah.
And then did they want Aaron to say something back? You want me to come up with something that Aaron would say?
Oh, we gotta see this, yes.
You ready? Wow, you taste good. Don't touch me.
Let the fan fictions be written.
And great.
You have started so many fan fictions. I will have to send them to you if our people send them to me.
Fantastic.
Who are we kidding? They're gonna send them to me.
And then Auto would go, bang.
Sir Bass, would you ever like to voice a character that's a villain, but at the same time a villain who's completely insane? Wasn't that normal villains?
Uh, I think it would be really cool to play another villain. I mean, I don't think Nagito from Danganronpa is necessarily a villain, but he's pretty crazy. And it was a lot of fun playing that character. I mean, I've played. I'm trying to think off the top of my head um, of particular villains that stand out. I think my voice just kind of has this bright quality to it, and people look at me in that way, but that doesn't mean I can't play the bad guy also. So hopefully in the future, I get cast as some bad guys because that would be a lot of fun to do that. I just haven't had the opportunity yet to play a real dark villain. So I mean, I look forward to it. It's something I definitely think that I'm capable of. Um, so I have to wait and see.
See, I think with your voice, I think you'd be perfect for the kind of villain that's always smiling and happy, and then when they turn dark, it's like, ooh, type
There
of
you
thing.
go. So I'll just have to wait and wait until one of those comes through.
Well, let's hope it does. Guys, start spreading the word that you want to see him playing a villain.
Boom, there we go.
Gaming asks, is there any video game and or anime franchise that you would love to have a voice part in?
All of them. I
That's
mean,
not a choice.
like seriously, it's so difficult to get work, and I audition for things all the time that I would love to be a part of. Um, it's just tough to for an actor to set their heart on something. I really try to avoid wanting to be part of something so much because most of the time when you audition, you get no as the answer. I tell people if they book one out of 100 auditions, they're doing well in this industry. So, I mean, like I said, I would love to be part of tons of different franchises and anime shows, and but I don't set my heart on particular ones because I don't want to be disappointed.
Have you ever looked at doing fan dubs with people?
Um, I haven't messed with that because I have been extremely fortunate to be busy. So, I have my web design business, I have my martial arts and my own training. I just haven't been able to set aside time to do something like that.
Ah. So let's get into the fun of it. Conventions.
Yeah.
What is the weirdest thing that's happened to you at a convention?
People ask me that all the time too. I don't really have an answer. Nothing that weird has happened to me. I guess because I'm kind of a weird person myself. So when stuff happens, I'm just like, all right, and just go with it. Like, I don't know. I really don't have a story that stands out. I mean, someone who I know has stories is Shermie, who plays Asuna in Sword Art, and we did a lot of have done a lot of conventions together. And we were at one convention, and it was right before we were about to do a Sword Art panel. And this girl goes up to Shermie and says, "Hey, so are you doing a panel with your brother soon?" And she's like, who?" And this girl's like, "Bryce, your brother." And she's like, "Oh, Bryce isn't my brother. He's just another actor. We're good friends, but he's not my brother." And she's like, "Yes, he's your brother." And she goes, yeah, I guess he's my brother." So since then, I have a new sister. She came in, she's like, "Bryce, you're my brother now." And told that story. But that stuff doesn't happen to me. It always seems to happen to her.
I'm afraid now that you've said that, my group might make it their mission to weird you out.
You know what? I've said it before. I've been at conventions and been like, "Bring on the weirdness," and it just hasn't happened. So I'll just wait until I see it.
So what's the weirdest thing, or what's what you consider the weirdest things you've had to sign?
Um, I mean, I think it's kind of interesting to sign like people's faces. Um, I don't know if I necessarily want my face signed. So it's kind of like, I don't know, interesting to me that someone comes up and goes, "Sign my face." And I don't have the like neatest signature. Like it's just like this big mash of a B. Like I just destroy all the Sharpies because I just mash them down, just this giant B. So when people come up and say, "Sign my face," I'm like, "All right, big giant B on your face." So that's happened a couple times, and I thought that was just funny.
Never been asked to sign boobs or anything?
No, I haven't. I haven't been asked to sign boobs. I mean, everyone at the conventions I've been to have been extremely nice and fun, and I haven't really had like an awkward experience. I mean, people have been very respectful. I don't think my wife would enjoy people coming up and having me sign their boobs. Um, but no one's asked me to do that. Actually, wait. I signed a dude's boobs. I signed right under his nipple.
I'm sorry,
the
but
tip,
you were so
tip,
excited about that.
the tip of my B touched the nip. So
And
I
how
have
did that
signed
make you
boobs.
feel?
I have signed boobs.
See, every other voice actor we've had on here, they're like, "Yeah, I've signed boobs." You're like, "I've signed a dude's boobs."
I think after I did that, I screamed out, "I just signed a boob!" and got an applause.
Oh, that's great. Gaming Writer asks, being the voice of, and I'm so sorry if I get this name wrong, Naigi?
Yeah, Nagy.
Hey, I got it right.
You
Woo!
got it. Yeah, you're good.
Do you know if there will be a dubbing of the Danganronpa anime?
Like I said, they don't tell us anything. We'll just have to wait and find out. I mean, if I get a call like, "Hey, you want to work on this?" I'd be like, "Yeah, I do. That'd be awesome." But who knows? I wish they told voice actors more stuff, and I wish they didn't have us sign non-disclosure agreements. which are basically legal contracts that say you will not talk about stuff, um, which are the most difficult things in the world because we're paid to talk. So that's why they just don't tell us stuff because they know we're going to talk about stuff if they tell us. So, yeah, I don't know. I wish I had a better answer.
I guess I can't ask you what animes you might be working on right now.
I'm trying to think if there's shows that I can talk about. I mean, I can talk about stuff that's been announced. Like the Sword Art Extra Edition was just announced, so not many people have heard that. So, um, and then something relatively recent that I did, and I don't know if you've seen this. It's a show called Blood Lad, and I play Staz. He's this vampire otaku mob boss, which was like the perfect role for me. Um, I'm trying to think if I can tell you about some other stuff. You'll just have to wait and see.
I need to go look up that anime later.
Yeah, Blood Lad is really fun. The first day of recording, the producers from Viz came in and they said, "Hey, if you want to go off script, feel free. Just have fun with this." And I looked at Kirk Thornton, the director, and we're both like, "Yes! Oh my god, this is gonna be fun!" So there's a few things that got in the show that just were not in the script at all. I got like one Mortal Kombat reference in there. Like my character's in the middle of a fight, and I just go finish him, and it made it in the show. I'm like, yes, made it! I can't believe they kept it. So
That's
we had
awesome.
some fun with that one. It's worth a watch.
Let's see. Oh, they're laughing. So, have you ever turned down a role?
Um, no, I don't think so. I mean, I've had to turn down roles because of timing issues. Like I was going to Hawaii for a vacation, and of course, right when you land, you get a call. Hey, can you come in and work tomorrow? No, I'm not gonna make it. So things like that have happened, but I haven't been asked to do something that was like that I was uncomfortable doing. Um, I mean, I've never been hired to do hentai or anything like that. I don't know if I would particularly enjoy doing that stuff. That'd be a little strange, but so I haven't had to turn down a role.
That would be interesting. Coming home, guess what I did today?
Yeah, again, I don't know if my wife would like me doing that stuff, but hey,
If she has a sense of humor, she'd probably be laughing good for a good while.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
Now, do you ever plan on becoming a voice director?
Who knows? I'm kind of interested in writing for shows and adapting, and I might have an opportunity to get into that next year. So I've seen a number of my colleagues, go from voice actors to writers to directors. So if that happens, then that would be awesome. Is it something I'm pursuing like right now? No. I'm enjoying just being in front of the microphone versus behind the glass. But again, I'm open to it if there's an opportunity and it looks like it'll be a fun job. Then
Now, you've done video games, you've done anime. Is it a big difference doing one or the other?
kind of when you're working on an anime, it's typically dubbing. And when you're dubbing, the Japanese is already done, and you watch the Japanese, you watch a line in Japanese, and then you perform your line to the movement of the mouth. So you have to hit sync. So you have something else to deal with. The timing is a big issue. Um, when you're doing video games, all of your lines are just written in this giant book. I mean, if you have a ton of lines, like I've done some RPGs like Tales of Graces. where I had 3,600 lines. So it was basically a novel that I was going through. And you just go line by line and work down. So you kind of have to use your imagination with what the character is doing at those points. Same thing with original animation, where you're in a room with the other actors and you perform the lines kind of at your own pace, like you play off each other, and then they animate to you. So dubbing kind of stands out where you need that extra skill of being able to hit sync, versus video games where you just have to have the vocal stamina to deliver all those lines and stay focused. And sometimes with games like Call of Duty, you're screaming for hours, and when you leave those sessions, you're just trashed.
So I would ask which do you find easier, but I'm pretty sure we're gonna hear anime here.
I mean, not necessarily. Sometimes video game sessions are a breeze. Like if you're just playing ancillary characters and you only have 10 lines, you go in and do those 10 lines and you're done. I guess same thing with anime. Sometimes it just depends on the character and what the director wants, how intense things are. But they're both great. I mean, it's just fun to work in this industry. So, I mean, I wouldn't say I pick one over the other. I like doing both of them.
Now, how does it feel playing a game that you voiced in and then hearing your voice come back at you as you play?
A little trippy for me at first, very strange for my dogs. I was playing Tales of Graces, and they were looking at me like, how are you screaming right now and your lips aren't moving? Like they were so confused. Like I would like do something and they would do that thing where they like tilt their heads to the side like, what? Really? So they were just they didn't get what was going on.
Oh, that had to be cute to see.
It was funny.
Now, Anime Lover asked, did you ever get to meet Chuck Norris since you specialized in his type of martial arts?
No, I've never met Chuck Norris. It would be awesome to meet him. I just never ran into him. My instructor did train with him though. My first instructor. But no, never had the opportunity to run into him or work with him on anything.
Aw,
But who knows? Maybe there's still time.
plenty of time.
Could happen.
Gaming Writer asks, do you have a favorite voice actor to work with?
I mean, I would just do the same thing like what you said when you wanted me to pick my favorite character. There's a lot of voice actors I enjoy working with.
They
Uh,
ask the tough questions.
yeah, I mean it's tough. I can't really answer that with one. There's not one person that I'm just like, yeah, I only want to work with that person. I've worked with a bunch of people over the years, and the thing about anime and video games is you're usually the only person in the booth. So like for Sword Art Online, Attack on Titan, and Blue Exorcist, it's just me in the booth, and everyone else comes in later. For Sword Art, it was pretty interesting because there's so many emotional scenes between Kirito and Asuna that Shermie and I both performed in before we had even met each other. But it's really the director, Alex Von David, who knew what kind of reads he wanted and pushed us into really believable performances. And when we got to meet each other, it was awesome. I mean, we've become friends since then, but it was just kind of cool to watch back at before we had met and seen how well it matched up.
Do you find it hard having to do really emotional scenes where you're supposed to be connecting with another character when there's no one else in the booth with you?
Well, uh, I think someone who has emotional scenes in a booth by themselves is a crazy person. So I guess I'm a little crazy. It's a challenge, but it's just a skill that I think I've developed from doing this for years. Um, and it's always challenging when the people in the other room are having fun. Like you give this like very emotional line, and then you hear like a fart sound over the headphones, like like it's hard to like stay emotional sometimes when everyone else is like joking around or being silly. Um, but yeah, it's a challenge, but you just kind of go in there and do it.
Do you have any funny stories from when you were doing any voice acting stuff?
I'm pretty well behaved in the booth. There's a fair amount of bloopers that are out there. If you guys look for bloopers online for like Blue Exorcist and Sword Art, and there's some good ones from Blood Lad also that are out there somewhere. Um, but there was one time that I came into record as Kirito on Sword Art, and I walk into the booth, and someone's in there, and they turn around, and it's Christine Cabanos with a Kirito mask on. And I was just like, oh, well, I guess Kirito's already here. See you guys later. but but it was kind of random to walk in and see her just standing there with the mask on. That was funny. But I'm not like a big prankster or anything. I know like some of the guys at Funimation mess around a whole bunch and mess with people. Maybe if I get an opportunity to go back out there, maybe I'll mess with some people.
Do it and tell them the sinner sent you to do it.
There we go.
Now they're asking, what animes are you currently watching yourself?
I watched a little bit of Kill la Kill. The I'm friends with the director, and he let me borrow the DVD. Um, Other than that, I've watched a little bit of Tokyo Ghoul. I have a friend who's like, "Oh, that show's so good, you should watch it." So I've watched a little bit, but I haven't had much time to sit down and just like watch shows. I've just been busy.
Now, are you booked up until Christmas, or are you actually going to take Christmas off?
Well, I'm not doing conventions before Christmas. Um, I have a little bit of time in LA, without any travel. Um, because I just got back from Australia, like I mentioned before. So I was gone for a couple weeks. So it's nice to be home for a little bit. But of course, I have a big web design project that's due by the end of the year. So I'm pretty much coding until the holiday.
Oh, you poor thing.
I'm happy doing it.
Since you rarely hear someone going, I'm happy coding.
Yeah, I mean it's not bad. You just kind of like my thing. I just sit in my office and turn on music really loud and just kind of like do it. Um, and then I break it up. I go to the gym or do something else, run errands in between. So it's not bad.
Now, you code websites and all that fun stuff. Have you ever thought of maybe trying your hand at working on a simple video game or something like that and see how you do on that?
It's totally different. I mean, the majority of the stuff I do is front end coding with a little bit of back end stuff. But video games are a different language. Um, Also, I'm not really an artist. My stick figures are pretty terrible. So to do any of the art for a video game probably wouldn't look great.
And that's why they created RPG Maker.
There you go. Yeah, I could use someone else's art and put something together, but um, I've thought about messing around and seeing if I could learn some of that stuff. Because I once in a while I'll play like tower defense games online. Um, so I thought about trying to make my own tower defense game, but I don't have time right now to mess with that stuff.
Well, maybe in the future.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows? I mean, that's the great thing about being your boss. I could wake up tomorrow and be like, you know what? I'm gonna make a video game.
There you go.
Just do it.
Now, they're asking, what type of music do you like?
I listen to a little bit of everything. Sometimes when I'm doing web design, I'll put on just like techno. So I'll be like working all fast, like to the techno beat. But I like rock. I like rap. I like hip hop. I mean, I listen to a little bit of everything,
Even country?
except country. So that's the only thing I just don't listen to.
It's country. It's all the same thing anyway.
Yeah, seriously. But I have Pandora, and I just throw that on, and I have like a million stations plugged into that, so I pretty much bounce around. I think I had like Dropkick Murphys radio on today,
Oh, Dropkick Murphys, so good.
or just like Rancid. I like that. Back in the day, I used to listen to that kind of music.
Now they're asking, what is your opinion on abridged animes?
So my first real experience of an abridged show was on a panel. I kept having people kept coming up to me and they're like, "Have you seen Attack on Titan abridged?" And I'm like, "I have no idea what you're talking about." They're like, "Oh, you have to watch this thing. It's so funny." So finally, I set it up at Colossal Con to watch Attack on Titan abridged at my Attack on Titan panel. So the last like 20 minutes of the panel was just me watching Attack on Titan abridged. And it's funny. I mean, it's they're funny. They're entertaining for sure. I know other people, have mixed opinion on that stuff, but I think it's funny.
So you don't think it's a bad thing that fans are doing this kind of thing?
Nah, it's cool. I mean, as long as they're not saying that something that they don't own is theirs. I mean, because obviously the creators of Attack on Titan and the animators and all that stuff uh, own those projects. But I think it's kind of funny that people watch like Attack on Titan abridged and they're like, "Wow, that was funny. This show looks pretty interesting. Maybe I should watch the show." So they go from watching the abridged to actually becoming a fan of the show. Like that's cool. That's cool. Whatever, gets them into the industry is gets them into anime is something positive. So I don't look at it as something negative.
Yay! See, guys, not everyone hates abridged in this type of thing.
Yeah, have fun. Doesn't bother me. I mean, but might bother other people and other people with mean attorneys.
Now, when you are contacted to come in, do they tell you anything about? Has any of them ever told you anything about the projects, or do you always seem to go in completely clueless on what you're going to be doing?
Sometimes it's really mixed. So like with Attack on Titan, like I said, I was a fan of the show. I knew exactly what I was going to go in and do. I had watched it in Japanese all the way through, and then after I got cast as Aaron, I watched it again. So I was totally prepared to go in. But even with that, I have no idea what Aaron is going to say because an adapted script is going to be different than a translated script online. Like, so if you watch it on Crunchyroll or you watch it on Hulu, the subtitles at the bottom are different than the script that we get because those are just straight translation. And a lot of times I'll be watching anime in Japanese and I'll go, "Oh, that sounded awesome," but I don't really understand what the joke is or what they're talking about. And then when I go in and I record in English and it kind of all comes together and makes sense. Um, I feel like there's a lot lost in translation because I don't speak Japanese. So with Attack on Titan, I knew, what the story was about. I knew how intense the series was, but I still didn't know what exactly I was going to say. Um, then there's things like when I worked on Final Fantasy Dissidia, I play Zidane. Some people call him Zidane, some people call him Zidane. I say Zidane. When I played Zidane, I got hired and I went in and saw the script. I had never played Final Fantasy IX. I played 3, which is technically 6, and then 7, but I hadn't played 9. So I saw what the character looked like, and I'm like, this looks really familiar, but I just don't know what this character's from. And they always use code names for their games. So I had no idea that I was working on a Final Fantasy until like maybe the third or the fourth session. They said, "Oh, you know that this is a Final Fantasy game," and I'm just like, "What?" And I had to like hold back like the inner fanboy to not like freak out while I was like at the studio. Um, so sometimes you don't even know the project you're working on while you're working on the project.
They're trying to correct you on the name.
Who's saying Zidane?
And one of our people, Taco Man, is like, it's Zidane.
Zidane? Oh man. Well, that I say Zidane, and then 20 people will be like, "You mean Zidane?
Exactly how it is.
You mean Zidane?"
See, you play one of my favorite characters. I love Final Fantasy IX.
I have Final Fantasy IX sitting in my living room ready to be played, but I know if I start playing, I will not do anything else. So it's been sitting there for quite a while. Actually, someone at a convention gave it to me after I said I had never played Final Fantasy IX. So it's sitting there ready to be played. It's been ready to be played for a while. I just haven't had the time to play it yet.
Aw, you should binge on it. It's a really good game, and the story is really interesting. Plus, it has that adorable little black mage Vivi.
I hear so many good things about it, so I will when when things slow down.
If you're a big fan of the original type Final Fantasies, like 1, 2, 3, you'll like it because it's more
Okay,
toward them.
cool, cool.
Now they're asking, when you go into audition, do you usually get the characters that you audition for, or do they sometimes put you on a different character?
Uh, it depends. I mean, it's different every single time. And when you say when I go into audition, that's not even always the case. Sometimes I get an email with a description of a character, not even a picture of them, or a description of a voice, and I record and email an MP3 into my agent or into a studio, and I have no idea, if it's the right voice or if there's any adjustments that they need. Once in a while, I'll get some feedback, but most of the time, it's MP3ing something in to somebody I don't know and then never hearing anything back.
Now they're asking, did you audition for Al- Alto? I'm gonna get that name wrong every time.
Okay, well, are you talking about
The
Ido
Vampire Knight
from
character.
Vampire Knight? Because
Yeah.
I do play an Auto from another video game. He has like these red armor. It's R Tonalingo Koga, but that's an RPG. Okay, but you're talking about from Vampire Knight.
Yes.
Yes, I did audition for Ido.
See, now I've got you doing it.
We can call him Hanabusa if you want.
All right, that'll work.
So yes, I did read for him. That recorded over at Bang Zoom, and that was really I had known them actually after they cast me at that as that part. They pulled up a audition that I had read for them when I was like 12 years old. So I had known them for a long time, and I had auditioned for them for tons and tons of things for years and years, and just never booked anything. And that was really, I think, my first semi-lead or supporting role that I was cast in at that studio. Um, and I mean, obviously, with Blue Exorcist and Sword Art Online and Danganronpa, like I should have just rented a room from them because I was there so much. Um, but yeah, I mean, it takes years and years of auditioning and being around the studio and having people put faith in you to carry those roles to actually book something.
Now with anime voicing, is it any different from doing the live action dubbing?
Um, I mean, it's similar. Obviously, cartoon characters make different faces than people. So, I mean, with me, I don't know if everyone else does this, but I always try to make the same face that my character's making. So sometimes, like, if they don't have pupils, I don't know what kind of face I'm making, but I probably look like a psychopath. Um, with live action dubbing, it's a little different. I mean, especially when it's in like a language that's not very close to English. Sometimes it's very hard to hit sync, so you just have to watch the flaps. I mean, it's similar timing, um, but again, it depends on the character. It depends on how wacky the show is. It's different every time.
Now I kind of want to see video of you in the booth.
I probably look insane. I think I just want to set up like a little GoPro or something when I'm like auditioning and just put that up because I probably just look nuts. I know I drive my wife crazy because I'll sit there and watch cartoons and then I'll try to copy the voices on the cartoons because that's kind of how I learned how to do voices. So I I like watching SpongeBob. Sorry, my dogs are barking in the background. I like SpongeBob, and I got the laugh down. So like, I'll sit there and just go like, ah, and then do Patrick's like, ladle, 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 ah, ladle, 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 ladle. Just drive her crazy.
She hasn't killed you yet?
I've been, she's crazy. She's been with me since high school. So I don't. Hats off to her for staying with an insane person.
Now, it's almost time for us to sadly end this.
All right.
But I do have a question. Have you ever played Cards Against Humanity?
I have. I recently got it and played with played with my mom, and
You made a mistake, my friend.
that was a horrible mistake because she was like, we got this. She got a really nasty one. She's just like, "What's boo cake? What is this? What is this boo cake?" And I'm like, "Don't worry about it. It's fine. Moving on."
Oh. Well, I want to come invite you to play Cards Against Humanity online with us sometime when you're not so busy.
Yeah, that would be awesome. You'll just have to try to catch me when things aren't so crazy. It's a good problem for a voice actor to be as busy as I am.
It is. And if you wouldn't mind doing a shout out for us.
Sure,
And I'm so sorry if I mess up your name. I think you figured out I'm terrible with names. If you could
it's all good.
say.
You want me to say it first? It's Bryce Papenbrook.
Oh, okay, so I would have been right. If you could
Yeah.
say, I'm Bryce Papenbrook and I'm a sinner.
Okay, you ready?
Yep.
I'm Bryce Papenbrook, and I'm a sinner.
Thank you so much for joining us. This was a blast.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. Definitely hit me up on Facebook or Twitter and give me links to link to this if you put it out there on the internet. And definitely spread the word about my Facebook, actor Bryce Papenbrook, and my Twitter at Bryce Papenbrook. So people can, if they didn't get to ask me a question, they can always hit me up there.
There you go, guys. You know what to do. And we will have you back and make you say the dirtiest things in Cards Against Humanity.
Ooh, sounds fun.
Bye.
Later.